Hello and welcome to the second session of Hard City. This is a new noir TTRPG from Osprey Publishing. Last month I did, or 2 months ago, I did Cascade of Violence, which was a new one from them, which is a neon noir. This is just noir in that kind of vaguely defined, where U.S., late 50s, or just basically just post-war kind of setup. And it's a pretty simple system. We're going to be onboarding a new character today. David is joining us. Unfortunately, Sabine could not be here. And we're going to bring David's character in. I'm going to go over the key points of the mystery that we got in play last time. What are the directions to go in, and figure out about those things. David, did you have a chance to look at the safeties and resources tab? Is there anything you want to add to our lines and veils? I'll just kind of point you to that. You don't have to say anything, but if you want to add anything, make sure that you've taken a look at that. For those of you at home, we're using a layered set of safety tools. We're using lines and veils to help demarcate baselines. We're using the X card to try and catch things that maybe we didn't spot for lines, or that we start to head into particularly problematic territory as a marker for that. It's a chance to stop or a chance to recalibrate what we're doing. And then lastly, we have open door in case people can need to step away for whatever reason. So David, you will be pleased to know that this is pretty much forged in the dark.
Excellent.
So basically what's going to happen is whenever you go to take an action, you will look at and choose one of your trademarks. So if we look at Otto's, Veteran, Enforcer, or Sleight of Hand. And you'll get a base die just for doing the action. And then because if you have a trademark that applies, you'll get a die for that. And then if you have any edges, which are the marked aspects underneath that trademark, any one of those that apply will also get you another die. You can also get dice for people helping you, for tags that are on the scene, for if you have particularly appropriate belongings. All of those things can add dice. Those are all D6s. Once you've got those set, we'll also look at the danger side of the equation. And basically, danger is a set of dice that if you have injuries, you can get danger dice for that. Conditions, particularly bad positioning, if your foe is stronger than you, all of these things that are risks that make the task more difficult are danger dice. So on our roller, we have both black and red dice. The black dice are the standard action dice, and then the red dice are the danger dice. You roll all of those dice, and the danger dice will knock out any matching roll on the action dice. So they'll take out one for one, so you'll use those to eliminate. And then whatever action dice you have left standing, the highest of those, a 6 is a full success, 4 or 5 is a partial success, 3 or less is a failure. And if you only have ones left, then it's a big botch. And that is the basics. The only there are some things about how injuries work, but they're very, very similar to how Forged works. The only other thing that's kind of a little tweaked is if we get into a conflict situation, this is a game that uses action declaration. You say what you do, and then we resolve things in the order of everybody talking, then everybody moving, then everybody who's shooting, then everybody who's just fighting and punching. So it's a little bit like, I think Doctor Who does this as well, where you resolve things in sort of stages and do declarations. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Let me have our two returning characters introduce themselves, give a sense of who they are, and then David, I'll have you introduce yourself, and we'll talk about some connections between characters. So I'm going to start with Otto. Otto, tell us about yourself. Give us your elevator pitch on who you are.
Excellent. I am Otto. I run our family's bar that I was kind of forced to take over. I had been away at the war, certainly came back with some things that I needed to deal with, but my father died suddenly, and so I had to take it over in order to take up the support of my mother and two minor sisters, sisters who are minors. So definitely struggling with some post-traumatic stress disorder stuff that I assume we would have called shell shock.
Hmm.
The major effect of that is the that I don't really sleep. I can't sleep because of night terrors and all of that stuff. Have had some run-ins just from being a grumpy veteran with the cops, and had my trademarks and stuff really relate to that story. Veteran with some struggles.
Excellent. And then we come to our button person, our hitter, Cynthia.
Thanks, Lowell. Yeah. So I'm playing Cynthia. She is a ex mob hit woman, um, who I guess there was a gap in the workforce during the war, and she swept in, and as these things happen, got swept back out when the demobbed mobsters came back. Um, And yeah, I think she has a connection with Otto. They're kind of childhood friends. He's a little bit overprotective of her. I think he doesn't really know what she did during the war. But despite that, he has kind of brought her into this investigation that they are engaged in. I think from her time, kind of sitting at the big boys table, she has this kind of easy overconfidence, and her other flaw is recognizable. That is maybe a little bit of people recognize her before, but also people will not forget her once they've met her a second time.
Excellent. So those are our characters. Uh, uh, David, tell us who you are and give us your pronouns.
Yeah, hi, my name's David. I use he, him pronouns. And I'm going to be playing Jordan Rivers, who also uses he, him pronouns. Um, Jordan, for a start, Jordan is not his real name. He was a con artist. He worked on a crew, or at least with a partner, for several years, making money any way he could across the US. A year or two back, he ran a job that went south when they came to kind of make away with the score. His partner was killed by the local sheriff of the town they were in, who promptly absconded with their take. If this works out, we can tweak it slightly if need be.
Sure.
But that sheriff is now the police chief of the city we're in.
Okay.
Having gotten himself a job in the bright lights. And Jordan has been here for a little while now, working as an investigator for the DA. And his overall plan is to bring the police chief down, and also get back his money. So that's what brings him here. So yeah, obviously, yeah, I've taken the grifter background and the investigator present. For my perk, I've taken a badge with a little authority to represent the fact that he is actually a card-carrying member of the DA's office, but no one really knows what that actually means. So he can kind of pull some ropes with that. The flaws I've gone for him: he's got a smart mouth, being the one of those classic grifters who can never quite resist the opportunity to get a sharp word in. And he does have the animosity of the local police. Perhaps not realizing fully who he is yet, but he's certainly been causing them issues since his time working for the DA.
And so the question I put to the others that I think we kind of have already the answer to is why are you on the outs? And I think that you've established that the cops are no friend of yours, making your task more difficult. How old?
Probably late 20s, early 30s, I'm
Okay.
imagining. I think he probably did serve during the war. Didn't necessarily see action during the war, but probably was enlisted. And I think in fairness to that, I don't think like specifically took action to ensure that he didn't see action.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he was probably just working in kind of army stores or something like that back in the.
Yeah, that does actually bring up a question for me now. Actually, for Otto, were you in the European or Pacific theater?
Yeah, I suppose I haven't really thought about that. Um, although I'm going to pick the European theater just because from Canadian history, I know that better than the Pacific
I think
theater.
that makes sense, and your own character's background
Yes,
fits
right,
in there.
with the Dutch background.
Yeah.
Okay.
David, we've got our characters here. What I want to do is give you a chance to tell us about your connection to either Otto or Cynthia, and then we'll come back around for the other one. And then we'll kind of maybe look at the talk with Otto and Cynthia about what their feelings are about you. So we've got some examples on the character creation tab of typical ties, but you should feel free to describe your connection, like how you're imagining, however you want. Who do you want to start with, Otto or Cynthia?
I'm thinking maybe Otto. I wonder if maybe my brother served alongside Otto during the war and didn't come home. And so we're not necessarily like fast acquaintances, but we've maybe kind of, since I've been in town, it was maybe even kind of a chance meeting or the like. And that does also mean that you will probably know Jordan's more real persona, shall we say.
Unsavory side a
Yeah.
little bit. And one of the things that makes sense then falling out from that is that you've gotten roped in on some things with them before. Otto, what do you think your perspective on Jordan is going to be?
I think it's wanting to look after a brother of someone that I served with, but also not actually liking Jordan's personality.
Okay.
So the split between I really feel obligated to do this, but I don't actually like him. If that's all right with you, David, I don't want to throw that into the mix if you're not all right with
No,
that.
that's cool. I like that. I like
Okay.
that.
Awesome. And then Donna, Cynthia, we'll start from your side on this. What do you think your impression, relationship, tie, connection to Jordan is going to be?
I wonder if Jordan had tried to pull a con on the mob when he got to town, maybe. Maybe while Cynthia was being pushed out, and so she may have looked the other way or something like that. Or maybe Jordan like targeted her as a maybe doing some work. I don't know. What do you think, David?
Yeah, no, I quite like the idea of pulling a con on someone in the mob. Maybe it was even like to to help the DA get a conviction against them, because it obviously helps cement my position as a useful member of his team, sort of thing.
So kind of a complicated relationship in that this is somebody who's taken down the mob a little, and you kind of look the other way, Cynthia.
Yeah.
Okay. And given that as your kind of relationship, Jordan, what do you think your impression, relationship, connection is? Like, how do you think of Cynthia?
I think I'm probably a little wary of her because, Jordan, at least as we've seen so far, isn't a particularly doesn't go in for the harder side of crime, as it were. So I think there's probably a certain amount of wariness, that kind of predatory side of her. But I think also it's definitely a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a respectful, I guess. I think he is impressed by what she's done and probably impressed by her as a person. So yeah, I think there's definitely a kind of a hint of like natural wariness, but I think he appreciates what she's done and who she is.
Awesome. So that gives us kind of a set up connection. I am going to briefly go through what happened last time, what seemed to be the key people and the key leads, and then I'll check and see what I've forgotten, because I will have overlooked something in my summary. To begin with, the group, in particular Otto, was contacted by a friend, another vet, by the name of, we'll get all my NPCs up here, William Brass, a lawyer. And he wanted a set of people who would be willing to look into something discreetly without the cops involved. And what that turned out to be is that Leo Gibson, the heir to the Gibson family fortune, was at his engagement party. And at some point during the party, he got a phone call, and he left and has not been heard of since. And essentially his parents, in particular Henry Gibson, were very upset about this. Contacted Brass, who contacted you to find him and find out what's going on. And I think the implication is, and bring him back in, I think, is the implications that is there. The group talked to people at the estate. They were able to find that there had been an argument between Leo and one of his friends, Danny Kovac, and Kovac had also left the party. Gloria Davenport is the fiancée, and she's very upset that this has gone on. The group tried to find out what else was going on there. One particular lead that was discovered is that apparently Leo had been seen at a couple of different dive bars, but the name that you got in particular was the Cobalt Club. And I believe that some of you went down and talked to the bartender there, who confirmed that Leo had been seen at the club several times in the company of a woman. Another parallel set of investigations found out that Leo, while he was agreeing to the marriage to Henry Gibson, apparently had a sweetheart that he had left to go off to war, and that his parents disapproved of. There's some suspicion that he may be, in fact, still carrying on with her. And you've got two different names for her. Sylvia Wright is one of the names you got, but you also got the name Sylvia Rossi. And there was some suggestion that Sylvia might be married. And there was some suggestion that the person she's married to is not a good guy. And in fact, member of the Rossi crime family. I think those are the big details. Have I left out anything crucial? I'm sure I have. Donna, anything that you can think that I missed?
No details of the investigation. The only kind of the other boot that waiting to drop is maybe we saw at the very end when Cynthia was following up on that bar, the bartender was like ringing someone when she left, and obviously, the balloon is going up somewhere.
Yeah, somebody got called. You have the Cobalt Club. You have an apartment address that seems to be tied into this as well. You have the address of this woman, Sylvia's mother. That was another detail that was in there as well. I think those are important things on the table. The group did visit Denny Kovac at his apartment. Pretty certain that he's not involved with the case, but he did reveal information about Leo having been carrying on with a woman, but not telling him who. So what I want to do is kind of imagine and bring our group back together to chat about next steps. At this point, our boxer, Jim Williams, has to go and take care of family stuff. So he'll leave the case in your hands. But I imagine that we're in an automat, early morning, the kind of clean white tables, the bright lights, all of the food and the little display things there, and still pretty early so that the three of you have a chance to catch up. I imagine that where we come in is Cynthia and Otto kind of finishing up briefing you, Jordan, on the situation. So, Jordan, what's your reaction to all of this info that you've just been given? They had an interesting night.
So from the sounds of it, you're on the trail of a guy who's run off with another woman on the eve of his wedding. This sounds more like a job for a private eye, but I guess if the money is right, I can lend a hand.
I mean, the money's green, if that helps.
It's a start.
I mean, my concern now is that this idiot is going to end up getting killed for his trouble. And if that happens, we don't get paid any kind
And
of
the
money.
money's no good. Yeah, I guess we have to decide, do we split up or stick together and use the force of these three big personalities in each place that we go?
But what leads do we have? We got the mother and the apartment, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Possibly also that there might be other bars that Leo had been visiting. I think that's another potential lead there. And then, of course, Rossi himself, if you want to run down that.
Mhm, mhm. I think at this time of the morning, we're best to go to the apartment and pick up the mom after that, and then see where those two things take us.
I wouldn't like to catch Eduardo Rossi too early in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we won't catch the night shift at any of the bars either. So yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Slug down the last of your coffee, let me, do any of you own a car, or do you think you're taking cabs to get where you're going?
I don't think Otto owns a car.
Okay. Yeah, so I imagine it's that the three of you hail a cab, and you will head over to this apartment building. And I think, as I mentioned last time, this is in a slightly more upscale part of town. Nice apartment buildings. There's stores around town. And it is, the kind of place that you can see that there's a doorman on the apartment building. And there's people out and about for their daily business here. So how do you want to approach this? Let's start with Otto. Like, what's your take when you get dropped off here? We'll assume a few doors down from the apartment.
I say we approach this with a little bit of caution. I'm worried because of the Rossi name and possible implications of that. What if we just spend, let's call it an hour, maybe two, just watching the front and back of this apartment and see, just see what happens, see what we can see. We'll watch out for Leo. Too bad we don't have a car. It'd be much nicer to be sitting in a car than standing in a doorway this morning. But since it's my idea, I'm willing to go into the back alley by the dumpster and have that be my position if you two want to stay out here. But I'm totally open to other ideas as well.
George, Cynthia?
Yeah, I think John's okay with hanging back and doing a bit of surveillance for a moment before attempting to go in.
All right. So let's do this. Otto, sounds like you're kind of making your way around back to kind of get surveillance, see what's going on there, see what you can pick up, that kind of thing. And Cynthia, Jordan, kind of more out front, kind of keeping an eye on things. Does that seem right?
Yeah, I don't know if. I mean, it sounds like the kind of neighborhood that might have a cafe or something like that. We could sit in by the window or outside.
There's a diner just down the way that you can sit on the stool or sit at the booth and keep an eye out the window. Let's start with Otto. Otto, what do you think the trademark here is for kind of let's say, casing the joint in back here, keeping an eye
Yep.
out.
Yep. I think well, there's lots of them. I would say the noticing skills in sleight of hand or
Okay.
spot trouble in veteran, but probably the noticing skills in sleight of hand.
Okay. Then base one die for
Can you,
sleight of
I'm sorry,
hand.
can you put the link to the roller in? I couldn't
Oh,
find it
sure,
in the
absolutely.
emails.
Copy. Here you go.
Thank you.
So let's say one die for base, one die
Mhm.
for the trademark, so that's 2. And then I think another die for notice here. I think that seems appropriate.
Okay.
I don't think there's any danger dice because we don't have any kind of active opposition right this second where you're at. But why don't you make that roll for me? 3d6.
Okay. 6.
So I think you come around back. This is, you know, literally a back alley, a kind of look. And I think you don't see anybody like sitting on the spot watching back here. But I think your success tells you that it wouldn't be that hard for you to, hop up to that fire escape, clamber up, and maybe make your way in on, the second or third floor pretty easily from here. I think that you can see a fairly decent access. Sound good?
Sounds great. Do we know which apartment? We found
No,
out which apartment? Okay.
no, not yet.
Okay. Sounds good.
Cynthia, Jordan, who wants to do the role for this, for the kind of surveying, the staking out here from the diner?
David, do you want to give those dice a first rumble?
Yeah, sure thing.
So one die for the action, and then what do you think is the appropriate trademark that'll fit with this?
I think the appropriate trademark here is investigator.
Okay.
But I don't think any of my edges from that apply in this circumstance.
Yeah, I don't think so. So that's 2 dice. And there is a danger die on this. Now, Cynthia can assist, so you get a 3rd dice.
Yeah, I think I can. I've got read a situation in my
Yeah.
in my locker, so that seems appropriate.
So 3 dice, 3 black dice, and 1 red die. Now, let me explain before we go any further. Moxie can be spent to additionally use another trademark on a roll. Moxie recovers at the end of a case. It has several uses, but that's one of them.
Cool. I think, seeing as it's my first roll, I'm gonna risk this one and just roll as is.
Okay.
And see how it goes.
So it looks to me like that 6 knocks out the 6.
Yep.
So your top roll is a 5. So I think the two of you are sitting there for a little bit. And you will watch, and you will see that there is a car parked, and there are 3 guys in that car, and they have been there for a while. They are also kind of watching the building and looking around. And you guess there's maybe a 4th guy because you see a guy kind of sitting on a bench out front of the apartment building with a newspaper that he really isn't reading. But I think kind of as you're watching, you see one of the guys from the car gets out. You see him come into the diner, and he orders some coffees, and he's just kind of there, and you see him look over, and he sees Cynthia. And Jordan, you'll catch that jolt of him going, like, that's the dame we got the description of, kind of thing. And he moves to, like, get those coffees quick. What do you do, Jordan?
Yeah, I think Jordan is going to throw down some money on the counter, grab his coat off the back of the chair, kind of give an almost, obviously, like, saying goodbye to Cynthia, and is going to step backwards and attempt to bump into the guy and knock the coffees over him.
Okay. What do you think is the appropriate role here?
Ooh, I think this is. I think this is going to be a similar situation to last time. I think this is definitely a grifter type move.
Okay, yeah,
but I don't think I have any edges that specifically specifically apply to it.
sure. That's 2 dice. I don't think there's any, like, active danger dice against you. You're probably pretty even position here, and it kind of out in the open. So just 2 dice, and let's see where things fall.
Sure thing. That's
Is-
a double
is
6.
That double 6. So this guy has stood up. He's got his coffees in his little tray there, and probably more like a bag. But you hit him, and it goes all over him, and he actually falls over, slips and falls, and kind of hits the ground there, I think. Cynthia, what do you do?
I mean, I am going to. Do we want to use this as an opportunity to find out more about him, or I think that's the best move here, given that we're not planning on moving on the car. So, yeah, I think napkins and etc. and pat him down and go for the wallet maybe, and yeah, pretend to be an interested bystander.
Okay, now he's clearly made you, so you know
Yeah.
that. But so you're going to try and like keep him from being too loud, kind of patting him down, trying to keep him in place. What do you think your goal here is?
I mean, my goal is to lift his wallet.
Okay.
But if I'm going to intimidate him into, being very careful, or else he might lose more than his wallet, that is fine by me.
Okay. So what do you think that is for, like, get up on him? You two are over him. It looks like you're, to everybody else, like you're helping, but
Yeah.
You've got a gun in your pocket or your purse or whatever. What do you want to do with that? Like, what's the role here? Did you freeze, Donna? This is what always happens. People will freeze just as we are going to a roll.
Yeah. I think for when we do get around to the role, I think my aim is to attempt to assist by kind of also helping him and trying to apologizing profusely and just trying to keep him bamboozled a little.
Sure.
Am I
Cynthia?
back?
Yeah, you are back.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was going for like a steel-eyed stare, just to maybe intimidate him into staying compliant.
Yeah. So 1 die for the action, another die for Button Man, another die for Steel-Eyed Stare, and then you've got assistance from Jordan.
Okay.
I think any danger that might be posed was negated by the critical success of knocking him over. So we're at 4 dice.
4 dice. Roll that. Lots of 2s, but a 4 at least.
Okay. So I think I think I would like you to mark angry. Essentially, you get this guy down, but there is a moment when like he's got his like last coffee that he's kind of held, and he, squeezes it and splashes you with the coffee there. But then he goes mum because he realizes that you've got a gun.
Yeah. Do you think that is like he realizes that I must have a gun, or like I make a move because he has made a move and he
You
recognizes
tell me,
game?
do you mean does he see a gun? Does he feel a gun? Like what's the score here?
Um, yeah, I think maybe I interpret him spilling the coffee as the first step in a fight, and I kind of respond accordingly, right?
Okay.
Maybe a knee leaning into his belly, and then like my hand goes into the bag in a very obvious, to him at least, move.
All right. So you have control of him right now. He's down. People think that you two are just helping him. He goes quiet because he doesn't want to get shot. And I think there's that kind of movement to maybe like get up, but you have control of him. Otto, just so we can kind of like cross paths here. I imagine there's a moment when you kind of come around to kind of check in on your comrades, and you look into the diner where they were, and they're not there anymore.
Do I see a pair of legs sticking? Like they're not in a booth, and I'm obviously looking
Yeah,
down
you
from the
kind of
second or
across the
third floor.
street. You see, look through the window at the booth where they were there, kind of
Yeah.
sitting, maybe at a counter at the window because it described the school.
Okay. Yeah.
But they're not there anymore. Uh, Maybe you see some people like moving around, like looking at something inside the diner, but it's hard to tell across here.
Okay. Um, I forget. Do do I know about the guys in the car?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, I'm definitely just gonna look around the street.
Okay.
Walk up to the front of the apartment building, looking out to see this, and I'm just gonna look for the commotion, look for where people are looking. But I think I'm gonna look up and down the street for other things. That sleight of hand practice of mine makes me think there's action and then there's what's really happening, and I'm just
Okay.
gonna look for the background.
What do you want to use for your trademark here?
Okay. Definitely I am going to use sleight of hand
Okay.
and the old switcheroo and
Okay.
switcheroo
I'll switch your
or nose.
nose. I like that. So let's do 4 dice here.
4 dice, okay. No danger.
No
Okay.
danger yet.
Yeah. Fair. That's fair. Come on, dice. 5s.
5. I think that you will spot that you don't spot the guy that's on the bench,
Yeah.
but you do spot the guys that are in the car. The two of them that are kind of like looking a little impatient, and they're sitting there with a purpose that tells you that those guys they're on the place.
Okay.
Let me come back to you in a second.
Yep.
Cynthia, Jordan, I assume you get this guy up to his feet. He's staying quiet because Cynthia's right by him with what he assumes is his gun, and is probably a gun. How do you want to do this? Like, I'm going to assume that you've moved yourselves and him such that the guys in the car can't see into the diner and can't see what's going on. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
What do you want to try and do? Do you want to try and push him into a booth? Do you want to try and move him back to the restrooms? Do you want to keep standing here and chatting with him? How do you want to play this?
What do you think, David? Do you think we should interrogate him right here, like sit him down and find out exactly what he knows, or just try to get him out of the way?
Yeah, I think that Jordan's instinct will probably be to try and get some information out of him because that's kind of more how he operates. But I think maybe he's I think he's still going to continue sort of you know, playing the kind of you know, apologetic Klutz thing, and is maybe going to like put an arm around his shoulder and say, here, let me help you get cleaned up, and we'll start kind of dragging him towards the restrooms.
Okay. Cynthia, you kind of following to kind of moving back to that look,
Yeah, I guess
out of the way hallway to the bathrooms.
Yeah, I think I'll stand overwatch, and maybe I'll ask the waitress to make up another 4 coffees for this guy. You know.
Okay. You got it. Puts down her cigarette, goes back to making another pot of coffee there. So yeah, the two of you can wrangle this guy back into the sort of short hall. There's a phone booth there, and there's you know, a ladies and a gents room, and you kind of got this guy back here pinned. What's your goal here? What is it you want to do? What do you want to ask him?
I'll say, yeah, gee, sorry, mister, for all the commotion. I'm sure we'll get this all sorted out soon enough for you and well, I guess you and your friends, unless you've got a coffee habit like me. He'll kind of laugh a bit and say, yeah, I'm just again really sorry about this, and you know, I think he'll have kind of fetched some you know, some serviettes, and is again still like kind of dabbing at his things. Do you need to try and wash this out before it stains?
Yeah, if your pal gets a gun out of my ribs, I'll think about washing up.
That sounds good. So I'll let you in on a little secret. I'm actually here to catch up with an old pal of mine. I don't know if you know him. And there'll be a brief moment while I remember the guy's name. Leo Gibson. You know him?
All right. So you've got some leverage here. I think you're in a good position between Cynthia's aid and the situation you've got him in. What trademark you want to roll? We've already got 3 dice from help and position and the base die. What trademark are you hitting here?
I think because I was kind of potentially going either way, but I think because he clearly does know that something is up, I'm just going to go with the investigator here.
Okay.
And I have the interrogate edge for that.
5 dice. There's almost no chance you could fail.
Is there any danger in this one?
No.
Sure thing. That's a 5. That was not a good roll.
So you see him react like he clearly knows that name. And he's like, what's that mean to me? It doesn't mean anything to me. All I know is your lady here was asking some questions around, and Mr. Rossi likes his privacy, and thought that you might be looking to invade that privacy. My suggestion would be that the two of yous back off a little bit here. If I did know a guy named Leo, I would say that it would be in your best interest to forget about this guy named Leo. If you take my winning.
Where are we likely to see this Leo show up then? Down the docks, drowned like a rat, or never to be seen?
You got good instincts, lady. Got good instincts. And I think Otto, the cost here for that 5 success is Otto, you see those two guys get out of their car, like what's going on, and start to move to head into the diner. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we'll go to Otto, figure out what he's going to do. And yeah, this guy's feeding you some info, and he's being truthful because you get a gun to him. So let's take 10, and then we will come back, okay? So Otto, you see these two guys across the street getting out of their car, looking around, and they start walking, sauntering, I think is a good way to put it, towards the diner. What do you want to do?
What I want to do is throw up the sash of this window and just yell out to them. Is the window open?
The
Openable?
window of the car?
Sorry, no, of the apartment. The window I'm looking out through in the apartment building.
Oh, I didn't. I assumed you were still on the street. I didn't assume you had gone into the building.
Oh, okay.
That was just my assumption. I should have framed that a little bit better. Do you think it will have you like? Do you think you went in on the street, or do you think you went up and like went in and are leaning out a window? I'm good either way.
Okay. Yeah, I was picturing since Otto was at the back that's how he saw, is that he did climb up to begin his look through the apartment buildings
Yeah.
and just happened to catch.
Yeah, walk down a hallway, kind of look out just to look and see what's going on with your friends. You don't see them from where you're saying. You spot the guys in the car, and then you see them like start to get out.
Yeah, both
And
doors
so,
open.
yeah. So yeah, you're gonna throw open this window and you want to yell down to them.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to distract them.
What are you yelling at? What are you saying?
What is her name? Sylvia?
Sylvia?
Yeah. Hey, you two mugs. Aren't you supposed to be down there watching for Sylvia? Then I slam the window and step back away from the thing. But I'm going to keep an eye just carefully to see if I can gauge the reaction. I'm hoping to draw them in.
Yeah, what do you want to use here for to kind of pull this trick, this con off on them?
Well, I guess the con is going to have to be a sleight of hand.
Okay. Yeah, I think the sleight of hand is the general there, so I think that works. Old switcheroo, maybe. I can also see that.
Okay.
So let's do 3 dice.
Okay.
And I don't think there's a danger die, but I know what the cost or complication is, given that this guy you haven't seen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Yep. Okay. 4.
So I said 4. So I think they stop and they look, and they don't like they start moving, but not like at a fast clip. However, down below, I think we see that guy with his newspaper throw it down and make his way past the doorman into the building.
Okay.
So given a respite, we come back to Cynthia and Jordan, and this guy goes, like, so where we go from here, lady and gent?
Well, if I were your boss, Mister, I'd want to speak to this Leo before he went swimming. With a fair assessment of your boss's personality.
I would say that my boss takes does not take kindly to people putting their hands in his cookie jar, if you take my meaning.
Yeah. So you want to tell us where this lesson is going to be taught to Leo? The first before the last. You forget my drift.
All right. So I think this is to get like you've got him set up. This is to get the specific out of him. He knows. So what do you want to roll, Cynthia? You playing bad cop with now Jordan playing good cop.
I think maybe Charmer. I'm not sure if there's any edge in here that is exactly fits.
Sure. So 1 die for the situation, 1 die for position, because you're in good shape. 1 die for Jordan's help.
Okay.
And then 1 die for Charmer. So 4 dice. I think there is a danger die because you are doing this in the middle of a diner.
Yeah.
You're off on the side, but there's still people, coming back and forth.
Okay. Let me roll those and let's see. A 5.
So that's a 5. So I think he's, you see him sweat a bit, and he's like, you called it right in the first place, lady. Rossi's got a warehouse down at the docks. If you were looking for your friend and you wanted to get yourself shot, that is where you might want to go. And then there's pardon me. And you see this overweight businessman kind of trying to get past you 3 to get to the bathroom. And he kind of pushes in, and this guy slides as this guy comes in and kind of, backs up and away into the diner, kind of gets himself out of your grasp. Does that seem like a fair cost?
Yeah.
Okay. Otto, you've watched these guys move, kind of fade back into the building. And you kind of turn and you see this guy, a little out of breath, turn the corner on the stairwell on the 2nd floor where you are. And you see him look down the stairwell like he's looking for you. He's not one of the 2 guys. But you see he's got his hand in his coat pocket. And you think he's getting ready to draw on you. What do you do? Did Otto freeze? It's going to be one of those days where the second I call for somebody to roll, they freeze. It's going to be one of those moments. Let's give Travis a sec here. It's like we're back in the old days of Google Hangouts.
Zoom has given up on Travis entirely.
Yes. Okay, we will give Travis a sec. So Jordan, this guy fades out into the middle of cafe, kind of clearly moving to kind of put some space between you 2 and him, and kind of like, okay, I'm just going to grab my coffees and go kind of thing. But you've been given the info. So what's your instinct, Jordan?
I think Jordan's going to turn to Cynthia. Is there like kind of one of those like back doors out of the
There's a
here?
swinging door to the from here close by to go through the kitchen to go out the back if you wanted.
Yeah, sure thing. So I think Jordan's going to turn to Cynthia and say, I'm going to head round and see if I can find Otto. Might be an idea to keep on those guys, see whether they rabbit or not.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure there's two guys coming in the front door who, in just a moment, who will agree. But yeah, it sounds like a fair plan to me.
Okay.
Um,
So Jordan, yeah, you can go through the swinging doors, walk like you belong there, walk through that back kitchen. You know, the short order cook is back there sizzling. The guy kind of looks up at you as you go past. Walk to the back door of this place, hit that. You know, this is 1950s. There are no alarms on doors. So you hit that and you go out and you can start walking back around the building to kind of come out onto the street, to go across the street to where the apartment building is. In the meantime, Cynthia, maybe you step forward to the end of this hall that leads to the bathrooms, and you see that guy has those coffees, and you see him turn around, and you see the other two guys from the car. One of them is standing and kind of looking across at the apartment, and the other one is moving to come into the diner here. What do you do?
I mean, I think I'm gonna sit at the countertop
Okay.
and maybe do a quick, pick up the menu or pick up a newspaper that's been left there and just spy from behind that. Hope I can avoid being pointed out to by this guy.
So you want to try and blend into the crowd here? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's fair. I think you've got two things that are strikes against you right now.
Yeah.
One is that you're pissed.
Yeah.
Two is that you are recognizable.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's put those two in as danger dice.
Yeah, that sounds good.
But one base die. And what trademark are you using here?
I think this is mostly about keeping my nerve. So maybe brave and unflappable.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's 3 dice.
3 dice.
Do you want to spend Moxie and use another trademark?
No, I will. I'll take my chances.
Okay, 3 dice and 2 dice on the danger. Oh. So it looks to me like that 6 gets knocked out, right?
Yeah.
So we're at.
So does the 2, but I got a 4 left.
Got a 4 in the middle. So I think this guy with the coffees kind of steps and he decides that it's better to get outside of this cafe. He doesn't know what you're going to do. And he steps out to intercept the guy who's coming in. But you hear him say, "Can of carries. That's the Jones dame. That's the hitter." Clearly now he's put 2 and 2 together about who you are.
Yeah.
And has that. But the two of them will kind of step away, and there seems to be now a kind of a scrum, a conversation going on between those 3 out there about what to do next. And they're watching the front of the cafe. They seem to have forgotten about Jordan at this point. You're the one they're watching. Jordan, you can come out come around the building. I think as you kind of come around the corner, you will see the three guys in the car are kind of standing there conferring out in front of the diner. And you notice that the guy who you saw across the street with the newspaper, he is gone, but you don't see him anywhere else.
Yeah, I think in which case Jordan is going to kind of try and get across the street as quickly as possible before the three who are chatting start to pay more attention.
I think Cynthia has their attention fully, so I think if you
Yeah.
want to make your way across
That's cool.
the street, you can do that.
I guess his first instinct will probably be to sort of duck into the the alleyway around which Otto went earlier, and to sort of get a bit out of sight. And he probably will just call out to Otto to see if there's any response.
I think that you can see that the fire escape ladder has been pulled down. I think you'll see there on that second floor, there's an open corridor window there. But you don't hear any response from Otto.
Cool. In which case, I think seeing the open window, he's going to actually then walk back around onto the front of the building and go in through the front door.
Okay.
Because again, that's much more his style.
So how are you getting past the doorman?
I think he's just going to head in and say, excuse me, sir, I'm here to see one of your residents on the second floor. He'll pull out his badge and say, it's on a discreet matter, you could say, and just kind of give him a wink.
All right, let's do 3 dice there.
Sure thing.
Feels like a little authority, badge, and base die.
It's a 6.
It's a 6. And like when that gets flashed, he's clearly a little antsy, like a little jumpy. And he's like, certainly, but you see him kind of look back, and he does let you go past. And you can walk up to that second floor. And in that hallway, you will see Otto, cold cocked, laying on the floor of the hall, and this guy with a pistol out at that open window, kind of standing there waiting for somebody to come through because he heard you yelling for Otto. We'll come back to you in just 1 second. Cynthia, you're in the diner. Those 3 guys are outside. They're clearly having a discussion about what to do. And you'll see one of them splits off and starts to walk across the street towards a phone booth.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
Let me be very egregiously naughty here and ask the the waitress behind the counter what the number is for the phone booth across the road. And I'm going to call that.
Okay. That feels like a point of moxie that she knows the phone booth number. Does that feel fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's spend that.
Okay. So yeah, you'll ask for that number, kind of step. You've already seen where the phone booth is in here. You'll walk over to that. You'll dial that up, and be a second and somebody picks up the receiver. Hello? And now Donna is frozen. Let's hope it's not my internet that is causing all of these problems.
Yeah, it's definitely the same for me as well. Well, as in, Donna's
Right.
frozen. Yeah.
I blame Elon Musk.
It's fair. It's fair.
Fair. And then there was one.
Really not having a good night of it tonight. That's
Oh, we get Travis back. We literally just lost Donna. Travis, can you hear us?
Yep.
We just lost Donna just a second ago. Like literally, I thought that was Donna coming back in, but it was you.
They're putting in fiber in our 50-year-old neighborhood. They're putting in fiber.
Oh.
I think they ran into the cable line. So I have
Okay.
I'm on 5G.
Okay. Well, let me set you up on a situation, and I'm going to kind of retcon a little bit of what happened before you did that. I think what we actually would have seen on screen is you turn around, and you would have seen this guy, and we would have seen that kunk as he knocked you across the head with a pistol.
Okay.
And I think then we see you come to, you're on the floor of this apartment hallway, and you see the guy with the pistol is at the end of the hall, that window that you came in, and you can see he's actually standing at that window with a gun, like he's waiting for somebody to come through. And I think that's the point at which you see Jordan peek his head around the stairs. He kind of looks and sees you. What do you do, Otto?
So Jordan's between me and the guy who's looking away from us at the window.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you're in the middle of the hall. He's at the stairs, top of the stairs, kind of peeking around. A little further down is that open window. This guy who's clearly waiting for somebody to come through so he can pop him.
Right. Well, I see there's a Slack message from Donna. Apparently he's in the same boat as I am. I think it's a sort of groggily wake up on the floor. One eye see Jordan, one eye see the guy in the back, and still kind of holding myself up. I'm gonna quietly shush to Jordan, and I'm just gonna tell him to look down the hall as best I can before I sort of refocusing.
Jordan, what do you do?
I think seeing the guy, seeing that it looks like Otto's kind of coming around and the guy is still looking the other way at the moment. I think Jordan is going to play for time, and I think he's going to impersonate the guy that he just saw in the diner. Kind of still keeping up the sight on the stairs, but just like call up to the stairs and say, hey, what's going on? What are you playing at up there? We weren't supposed to come in
Interesting.
unless something happened. And just going to try and distract him mostly.
So let's read this. So Otto, now you got a couple of choices. You can kind of let that continue on. Maybe Jordan will draw him down, or you can take advantage of the distraction to clinch this guy. What do you want to do?
Well, if Jordan's called out to him, then I assume he's probably turning back around toward us.
He's starting to turn around to look at where the voice is coming from the stairway. He hasn't probably noticed that you've gotten up.
Okay. I will just sort of As Jordan's speaking, I'll get up and sort of try to hide myself in a doorway. If this is a nicer nicer apartment, has a little bit of a deeper
So your goal is
doorway.
to avoid conflict. You don't want to take this guy out. You want to just let him like head over to where Jordan's at.
I my goal is to just have him not notice me so I can get closer to him.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then I'm gonna aim for some form of intimidation or hitting.
And I don't think that's a roll. I think Jordan's got his attention. He's turned back. He's starting to move towards there. He's not paying attention to you. If you want to step up on this guy, you know, you have a moment here before he's gonna spot Jordan, before he's
Okay.
gonna be aware of things. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna just reach into my back pocket and pull out a blackjack
Mm-hmm.
and tiptoe towards him to try to get him in the back of the head.
Okay. So let's give you a die for does that feel like enforcer you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So one die base, one die for enforcer, and we'll give you a die for intimidate because I think this is fallen under that. So we'll say 3 dice.
Okay.
Jordan has eliminated any possibility of danger dice, but
Right
things
on.
could still go pear-shaped.
Okay. I don't have access to the roller or the thing
Okay.
on my phone easily.
So I am going to roll 3
Appreciate
black
it.
dice here for you.
GM magic, let's go.
That is a 6. So he steps like sees Jordan on the stairs, realizes that it isn't his buddy. He's about to say something when, just like he cracked you over the back of the head, you bring this blackjack down and hit him, and he slumps to the ground, unconscious. Cynthia, want to cut back to you?
It's one of those IT days.
It is.
All around.
Yeah.
This guy answers the phone and says, "Hello."
Of course, this was such a neat idea. I didn't know what to do with now that it arrived. I'm gonna, I'm just gonna pick an obviously common Italian name and hope it's one of these 4 guys.
Okay.
And say like Marco. Is that you, Marco?
All right. Roll me a d6. If you get a 6, that's his name.
Okay. No, it's not.
No,
It's a
no,
1.
and he's like clearly wary. Like, who is this?
We're down at the warehouse. We just want to make sure everything is okay there.
Okay, now here's where we get to the real role. What are you doing to fake this guy out?
So, I mean, I got
Just
straight
charmer?
face. Yeah, I think straight face lie. I mean, I guess I'm leaving enough gaps that his knowledge of the situation is going to fill in, right?
Okay.
And maybe from my time, I know a couple of key phrases to drop.
I like that. So charmer, so base die, charmer, read a situation, straight face liar. So that's 4 dice.
Okay. Any danger?
I don't think so right now. You guys are in very different places.
Yeah. Okay. So let's roll. Got a 5.
5. He says, Vinny and Bruno are hopping in the car right now, heading down to meet up. There's this lady that was asking around. It turns out she's Cynthia Jones. She's an ex-mob hitter. There's something going on here. Uh, Donnie went up. There's somebody else messing around. They might have been trying to pop Sylvia out of her apartment, but we still got her buttoned down. So I'm going to stay here and help him. Those two are taken off, and we'll get back to you. So tell the boss, like I don't want to be the one to say this to him, but tell him he might want to hold off on gacking this guy until we can get some heat off of us. Got it?
Got it.
Hangs up. And you can look out and you will see those two guys getting in the car to take off. Let me cut back in. Jordan, Otto, you have an unconscious guy. He is laid out. You kind of, he's got, the snub-nosed pistol that in his pocket. He's got some cash. I think a quick look at the ring and on his finger and stuff, that this is definitely one of Rossi's enforcers. What do you two want to do?
I think first I'm going to take the pistol out of his holster.
Okay.
I'm going to open it, dump out the bullets, close it, and put it back in.
Okay.
Yeah, then I think just do the thing of starting to look around the apartments up here, see if they've got the little brass nameplates or anything on the doors. This seems a pretty ritzy type place. So
yeah, roll me a fate die.
sure.
D6 here.
That's a 6.
Yeah, actually, you will look down here. Just a couple doors down is the Rossi apartment.
Yeah. I think I'm going to walk up to the door and knock on it.
Okay. Otto, what are you doing while this is going on? You've still got this guy who's knocked out?
Yeah, I'm gonna pocket the blackjack, and Jordan's got the bullets and whatever other stuff. I'm gonna assume that I kind of caught the guy, and so I'm gonna weaken at Bernie's, put his arm around my shoulder, and just try to move with him towards where Jordan's at the doorwell, the door of the apartment.
Okay.
Just got him by his belt, his arms around me, and just moving him with us. We'll kind of stay out in case there's a people. I'll stay out of the view of the apartment.
Jordan, you hear this guttural voice go, "Who is it?"
They're. I'm just checking everything's okay here. I've been sent by the boss.
Everything's copacetic. We're all good.
You've not heard anything unusual? Any disturbances or the like?
No, she's real quiet, but Gag will do that.
That it will. You mind if I come in and use the bathroom quickly before?
All right, now here is where we get to the roll. What do you want to roll to convince this guy to let you in?
I think this is going to be Grifter and Smooth Talker.
Okay. I don't think there's any particular danger, kind of on even grounds here. You don't have any conditions working against you. So 1 die for base, 1 die for smooth talker, 1 die for grifter. So that's 3 dice.
That's a 6.
That's a 6. And I think there's this moment where, like, you're talking, you keep it like this is nothing out of the ordinary. We're just doing this, and you hear the chain slide, and the guy opens the door, and I think there is this moment where he sees you, doesn't recognize you, and maybe catches that there's somebody else. Otto step back, and he goes, "Who the F are you?"
You know me. We met each other at the place the other day. You know,
Okay.
down at the warehouse. The thing.
All right, come on in. Who's
The
that?
others are just getting coffee.
And he goes, "Hey, what happened to Lenny?"
Oh, that's kind of why we were checking things out. It may just be his blood sugar.
What do you say? What do you do, Otto?
Yeah, hey man, I just walking up the street, this guy collapsed in front of me, and then Buddy here suggested I ask for a little help to get him up here. Where do you want me to sit this guy
Oh,
down?
yeah. And I think that when you say that, kind of indicate that you're just a bystander. This guy will step and will take Lenny into his arms, and kind of like, now he's got the full weight of Lenny on him, and he's kind of stepping back into the thing. Jordan, you're behind him. What do you want to do?
I think at this point, I'm going to start just quickly scanning around the apartment to try and see if I can
step in. Beautiful apartment. This is super well decorated, beautifully done, pricey stuff, garish, like low, not great taste, but a lot of money to be thrown at it. And I think you'll definitely spot, okay, that's where the bedroom would be, over that way. The other doors are open, and you're pretty sure if they've got somebody, they've got her in there. Otto, this guy is struggling with the body. Do you want to help him out with it? Do you want to take advantage of the moment to take him out as well? What do you want?
Yeah, I think when he's struggling under the body, I'll kind of hand it off to him roughly, give him a little bit of a push, just enough to give me some room to reach back and pull my blackjack out again.
Okay.
And so I kind of physically turn them both towards a sofa that's in front of. Probably one in a house like this is probably one in a hallway when you first come in, place to sit down and put your boots on.
Yeah. So I think if you want to take this guy out, you've got an extra die for positioning. What do you want to roll? So that's 2 dice to start.
Yeah. It's gone. I can't even see the character sheet.
Okay.
What are the enforcer ones? Is there something in enforcer?
Enforcer, and we've used intimidate for this before, so we're saying 4 dice.
Okay.
I think the cost is possibly that you may be in a little bit of a tussle here. So I'm going to go ahead and roll those 4 dice for you. And that is a 5.
Okay.
So he's got a hold of him. You move back. You've got the blackjack. He's at a disadvantage, but then there is this tussle. He's an enforcer as well. I think that you push him back against the wall, hit his head. But I think there is a moment when he manages to kind of pull back and get a left hook across, and we'll mark it injury for you.
Okay.
in a bit, but essentially just a bruise before you pop him one and he drops like a sack of potatoes. Let me come back to
Excellent.
Cynthia.
Hmm.
Cynthia, you see that car taken off. You see the guy in the diner. You don't see Jordan. You don't see Otto. Do you want to go into the
So-
building? You want to try and deal with the guy in the diner? What do you want to do?
So did you say, so there's two guys, so one guy went upstairs, right?
So there was a guy who was seated on the bench.
Yeah.
And you figure he went inside just by judging. There's the guy who's still in the diner in the phone booth who's probably going to come out and go across the street in a minute. And the other two guys have taken off in the car.
Okay. So I think I'm gonna have to follow that car, given that they're going to the warehouse.
Gonna hail a cab and
Yeah, follow that car. You know,
okay.
classic lines.
All right.
Mandatory in a noir game, right?
Absolutely. So I think then we get that green screen montage, a very bad, like actually not green screen, rear projection, where we see you in the car. We see the thing, it doesn't quite sync up. The thing is you're kind of watching over and we see the guys and they're definitely heading to the docks. I think we cut to Jordan, Otto. You can secure this enforcer, no problem. What do you time up with, Otto?
First of all, with them out, I'm just gonna reach back and lock the door and put the chain on.
Oh, sorry.
Sort of the deadbolt and the chain, and I'll open the closet there to see like a trench coat belt, or just I assume there's a few of those around.
Absolutely. Like Rossi's like personal collection of high-end coats. You can just rip a belt off of one of those.
Sure.
Tie him up, bind and gag this guy and drop him there. Jordan, you move over to the bedroom. You can look in, and you will see this woman tied up and gagged on the bed. She's in a very not a super nice looking dress, but she's clearly was out for a night when this happened, and you can see that she's got some bruises. Clearly, she has been slapped around.
Yeah, I'm going to walk over. I'll take the gag off her first, and then start working on the knots.
Who are you? Who are you?
Name's Rivers, Jordan Rivers, ma'am, with the DA's office. But don't worry, you're not in any trouble. I mean, the current situation aside.
You don't understand. Eddie's got Leo. I don't know what he'll do.
We're aware, ma'am. We're working on it. And I think he's probably going to pause in sort of undoing the knots and say, if you think it would be safer for you to wait here, I can leave you. Though I don't like to leave you like this. I'd rather you come with us, and we'll get you somewhere safer.
Okay. And Otto, you will see Jordan kind of come out of the bedroom with a sort of like disheveled and disoriented Sylvia Wright. Sorry, Rossi knee right there, and she's like, "You got to get to the cannery. You got to get to the cannery. It's. I know he's going to do something to Leo. I had to call him. Pardon?
You Cynthia?
Nope. Sylvia.
Sylvia. So you're Sylvia?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Sylvia. That's where Leo is. He's at the cannery by the docks.
That's Eddie. Eddie grabbed us up. He found out. somehow, and he tied me up. I don't know what he was going to do to me, but he took Leo. He worked him over, and he took him, and that's where he takes when he's going to do something. That's where he goes.
Okay, well, let's hold on. Come on here. Find the ice box. I'll get you a steak to put on that eye, and then you can just tell us where the where in the cannery. We know about the warehouse of the cannery, but where in the cannery Leo will likely be. Do you want to come with us? Do you want to? I've got a place.
Oh, no, I don't want
Eddie
Eddie to see me. If he sees me, he'll kill me.
Okay. Well, I've got a place that we can drop you off on the way. Just keep that on your eye there, and let's. I'll turn to Jordan and say, let's just drop her off at the bar. Probably my mom's waking up now. We can. Mom can make her coffee and look after her. Mom won't ask too many questions.
Sure thing.
Kind of looks.
think
She's like a bar. I thought we were at the DA's office.
He's with the DA's office. I'm just a friend of Leo's father's. We're just very concerned about him and here to help figure out stuff with make sure he's okay.
You say Leo's father, and you see her frown. Like that's clearly not good news for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we cut to the two of you heading down to hail a cab. I think here, as it's sort of getting on dusk, we see those two guys pull up at this cannery, and I think a ways back we see the headlights, and we see the cab watching Cynthia, and you see these guys get out to go in. Let's take our second break here, and when we come back, we'll find out what Cynthia is doing before Jordan and Otto arrive. Yes.
I gotta sort of this no problem. I got a work call in 2 hours.
Okay.
So it's less than 50-50 I'll be able to come back. I gotta make some calls.
Well, how about this? Actually, why don't we do this? Let's put a pin in this here.
Okay.
And when we'll wrap this at the
mind.
start of next session, just because we're having such tech issues today. Are you guys okay with that? And I know, Travis, that you're in next session because we had a drop. So you came in from the wait list. So we'll start with that, resolve that, and maybe roll that into another related case from there. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks so much, everybody. Sorry about this.
So let's do this. Let's do a quick stars and wishes. We'll put the pin in it here. Anything anybody wants to give a shout out to? Let me start with you, Travis.
I definitely start for me is everybody playing to tone and helping set it with just funny little lingo things and picking up on stuff that suits the noir theme and the time place. So I think there's lots of stuff that we've done that has helped set that scene for me. So I'm grateful to all three of you for little pieces of that. And Jordan, David, I appreciate you just sliding me in and just going from there. It's been great to play with you for the first time.
Anything you definitely want to see in the next couple of sessions?
Yeah, wishes. I don't have anything specific. I'm interested where the story goes. We've got to roll a lot, which is usually what I say during wishes. I'd like to get to something that we can roll more. Not in Lowell's games, but in other games. So I'm happy.
Okay, awesome. David?
Oh, yeah, I'm already definitely cool. It was a really, really fun session. I enjoyed. As I said, it did feel suitably noir. I could definitely got those vibes from everyone. I thought that was really great. I loved sort of the different way people approach things. I liked the way that we got to see kind of Otto being both like not rushing into violence, but doling it up quite effectively when needed it. And yeah, kind of the menace of Cynthia in in the diner was awesome. But yeah, also that the pulling the old, phoning up the phone box trick, which is always a good staple. Yeah, the whole setup has been a lot of fun. I enjoyed that, and I really liked like tiny bit, but I just loved that like one word as the waitress, just like was so on tone as putting out the cigarette, and yeah, that was great. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. In terms of what I want to see next time, I guess I'm interested to see how kind of some of the other mechanical pieces work, just because I've not seen them yet. But like, there's nothing in specific I want to see happen next time. But I'm just interested to kind of see how the game all sort of fits together as a whole. But I'm enjoying what I've seen of it so far.
Okay. And Donna.
Yeah, I guess stars to you, Lowell, for both, persisting with us despite our IT issues, but also, we were mixing and matching our location and team ups, which is juggling for you, but I think it all worked really well. A lot of crossing the street, and yeah, I think like. Probably echoing David and Travis in terms of like the noir feeling, and all those little touches that everyone added were super and really enjoyable. And I guess we rolled enough sixes. Maybe not me, but everyone else rolled enough
some
sixes
good rolls today too,
to really swing for the fences. So yeah. Wishes. I guess we are hurtling towards a tense showdown, right?
Yeah.
Which is another staple of the genre. So yeah, I just want to see how messy that gets.
Excellent. Awesome. I'm going to stop the recording.